Good afternoon, dear colleagues. We are glad to see you all here in Ukrainian Crisis Media Center. Today is a St. Nicholas Day, and I guess there's a present for Ukraine. It was good this year. So, Olena Zerkal, Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs on Euro integration issues, and we are going to speak about the report of the Commission as to visa liberalization. Good afternoon, dear colleagues, and I would like to join these greetings. Congratulations on St. Nicholas Day. And St. Nicholas brought many presents for Ukraine. And first, I would like to speak about yesterday's events. It's a report of the Commission on the visa liberalization regime. This plan was provided to Ukraine in 2010, and there were two phases, political and implementation phase. So we ended the second phase, and I congratulate all of you with this, and we are now at the new stage with the communication with the European Union, and the visas are going to be cancelled for short-term visits to the EU. This report was prepared in 4 blocks. First, the plan, and then the report includes recommendations as to the Commission will present a legislative proposal as to the importance of getting by Ukrainians short-term visas to travel to the Schengen area. And you know that not all the European countries are Eurozone. So this concerns European states that are the part of the Schengen zone. So the further action, we should say that after this report was published, the Commission prepares legislative proposal. This legislative proposal will be submitted to the committee. There are representatives, the ambassadors of the countries of all European states that are part of the European Union, and they will consider this proposal. All the discussion is in this commission, and some proposals or objections or some notification that are clarified there. And if there's a question that some country has doubts about readiness of Ukraine to provide the security of borders, this issue can be submitted for the next time, and this country will do everything possible in order to clear these things away. So now we are at the stage of communication with the countries of the EU, and these commitments, our obligations that we additionally taken, and it is stated in the report that Ukraine is going to create further steps, further actions, National Anti-Corruption Bureau, Anti-Corruption Prosecutor's Office, and also Anti-Corruption Agency. This is indicated in the report in order to prevent any objections, because you know that national agency that fights corruption only started its work, and agency that is on returning the assets also is going to start its work. And of course, we are going to continue the work on forming it, and we are going to improve our legislation that is connected with the arrests of assets, and also we will improve the procedures on hiring for this prosecutor's office in order that this office will be functionally independent. But still, there are some doubts about what how these people were hired, but these other issues, I'm going to answer your questions. I'm ready to answer, but all those speculations that are underway on the interpretation of those obligations that were taken by Ukraine have nothing to do with the report. The report is final. There's no additional reports, and we continue to work in the regime of joint bodies that are envisaged by the association agreement, and the association agreement indicates the body that helps to continue the cooperation in the sphere of visa liberalization, and I'm ready to answer your questions. Thank you, Elena, and do you have some questions? First, introduce yourself. Alina Musansunian channel. I'm not speaking about report, but this is in the framework of your competence. There will be trilateral consultation on Monday, and the president said that we implement with this the 1st January, and there will be a free trade zone. But Russia, whether Russia is going to introduce some restrictions, okay. Maybe not like this, but what will be discussed during these consultations? What issues are going to be considered? First, I will say what Russia did. Putin made an order that stopped the free trade zone in the framework of and he violated all the norms of international law. And on Monday, we are going to decide how we are going to live. And there were 15 consultations, 5 rounds of ministry discussions, where these meetings were technical consultations on 3 major blocks. First, technical barriers, sanitary and phytosanitary norms, and customs requirements. So every time we try to provide broader, but these questions are not economic. These are political issues. Maybe Putin didn't end this case. This order shows the intentions of Russia, and there's no answer now. There will be a trilateral ministerial meeting, and everyone will understand that we should understand what are the violations concerning this order and how the parties will cooperate further. Sergei Sindorenko, European Truth. Good afternoon. One of the last things, ad hoc mechanisms of monitoring. When will they be introduced? And about monitoring in the Commission, what are the deadlines? And maybe there should be some monitoring missions, because I don't understand this. And about the timing, when will this communication be communicated? Because all the schedule depends on this. Ad hoc monitoring will be carried out as the visa dialogue continues. We have different levels of communication. We have a platform such as a meeting of top officials. It is held regularly. Every 2 or 3 months we meet and we provide information on what we have completed and what is the stage, and what needs, what help we need. So we have constant dialogue. And about the JLS and the subcommittee on justice, freedom, and it is envisaged by the agreement on association. They should gather twice a year, but its mandate is broader than the issues connected with visa liberalization. There are also cooperation in legal sphere, cooperation in the sphere that is now the issues of migration and also human rights protection, fighting corruption and organized crime. So this dialogue is going to be continued. And there was some plan of action on justice and security, and now we will have separate agenda on justice and security. Because there are many cases we have migration challenges, and they are high on the agenda both in the European Union and in Ukraine. So I believe that here will be some well-focused dialogues, and they will continue. And as to the legislative initiative, yesterday, the Commissioner for Migration, Home Affairs and Citizenship, Dimitris Avramopoulos, said that they have 2 or 3 months to complete this procedure. And also, the reaction of the states is important, whether they will have some questions about this activity. And we do not stop at this. We continue our work. We adopt appropriate laws, and we also try to fulfill our obligations. And about the monitoring that is going to be conducted, do we expect some monitoring rounds or before this decision is adopted on the visa-free regime? Because we expect that they should monitor the third block, or what will it be? No, we don't expect this. As I said, we have top officials meetings, and this is a platform where we communicate with European Commission. From Ukrainian side, I represent this commission and the Deputy Minister of Justice, and from the part of the Commission, the Director DG Home. And in the course of these meetings, we communicate, share information, and this is ad hoc monitoring. We provide information. Once we are ready to provide additional information on what we did, we invite these officials and we carry out this ad hoc meeting. And as to the subcommittee, the sittings of subcommittees are planned for a year ahead, and they are conducted in a planned regime. So these are 2 processes that are done in parallel. Tell me, please, Commissioner told the visa-free regime will take 3 to 7 months. What should be done, and what party can accelerate this process, and why such a discrepancy, 3 to 7 months? It is understandable. If you look at the Moldova's experience, there are consultations with the countries of the EU when they prepared legislative proposals and how this decision was taken. There are countries, the EU members, and the dialogue on introduction of this legislative proposal. It is not carried out by, it is the Minister of Justice and who are more focused on security issues, and they can have some questions to Commission who estimated the results of Ukraine and also to Ukraine, and this dialogue continues. They do not provide new requirements. They ask, how do you regulate, how do you provide these, meet these requirements? And there are some preventive mechanism, for example, in migration, or this is a question of dialogue and provision of additional information. And after this, they're going to take a consensus decision, and only after this, there will be this legislative initiative that will be submitted to the Council and the Parliament. So this is a forecast of the Commissioner. Can the Parliament block this decision? No. European Parliament, they can debate on this. They can ask General Director or Commissioner, and this decision can't be blocked there. It can be blocked only at the level of the countries of the European Union, because the mandate for the professional assessment was with the European Commission, and the European Commission provided technical work. Do you have some other questions? Okay. We have questions among civil society members, and this is important for the EU, about the process of the officials of, and I believe that during the consultation in the Commission, they have different views, and what are the demands of the EU on the formation of the free trade zone, and how this, because they say about some breach of obligations. This issue is systemic. It's not only about anti-corruption prosecutor's office or anti-corruption agency. This is about selection and credibility. The main that there should be credibility, and how this process, selection process, who are these people who take part in this contest. These are not the questions to the European Union. These are our internal questions. And there are many difficulties here to decide these questions, and everyone selects something that he understands how to do it. So about the issues of competence or some personal traits, this is normal that everyone has his own opinion. But I'm concerned that this opinion, it prevails over the mind. So each selection is a mini scandal. There should be discussion. There should be a professional discussion. And the European Union is concerned about it. And this is not only about the selection of anti-corruption officials or national agency for fighting corruption officials. We should focus on results that we want to achieve, not on who are these three and who will be the head of this agency. So I call on the members of the Commission to be more balanced and to work for Ukraine. Thank you, Elena, for your information. Thank you. Oh, there's one more question. Do I understand correctly that we expect that this decision will be adopted by the Council, and cannot be considered on during the April meeting, or will it be in the summer? We will work in order to fulfill our obligations in the shortest term and to go ahead with this process and without obstacles on our way to get better results. And now another question. And in what way can simple Ukrainians enjoy this visa-free regime? There should be biometric passports, and all countries agree on that. And there were some special presentations in embassies for the EU countries and for their migration services. And there's no problems with biometric, and these passports correspond all the requirements of the European legislation. And about additional documents, or maybe there will be some proofs in order not to have problems. It's like for Moldova. You should have a return ticket, and maybe some invitation or hotel reservation. So this is to prevent illegal migration. There's no any other. There shouldn't be any other document. Thank you, Olena. And this is the end of our briefing. Thank you very much. And President